pertains to the hadith about the river Euphrates, that the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that the river Euphrates will uncover a mountain of gold, and that people will fight over that gold, and that 99 out of every 100 will be killed, and everyone will be saying, I hope I will be the one who will survive. But the Muslims must not touch that gold. And I have lectured on the subject and offered an opinion. And my opinion is that this is not to be understood literally. No. That we don't have to wait until the river dries up, and then from underneath the river will emerge a mountain of the metal. No. I'm saying that what is lying underneath the river, in that entire basin, is oil. And while there's oil in the North Sea, you don't have to remind me of that, and while there's oil in Nigeria, and while there's oil in Venezuela, and oil in the United States, and lots of oil in Russia, it is this oil, the one in the basin underneath the river Euphrates, this is the oil which is destined to function as gold. Gold has always been money. Money, dinar. And so the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam is saying that a mountain of gold is going to emerge from the river Euphrates, meaning that the oil that is going to be discovered in that area is destined to function as gold. Not the North Sea oil, not the oil in Venezuela. You don't have to remind me that there's oil in Venezuela, I know that. It is this oil which is destined to function as gold. And that is why it was said, a mountain of gold. And this is my opinion. Don't touch it. Oh, but gold is halal. Allah created gold as halal. Why should I not touch gold? Is there any sane reason? Any rational explanation for me not touching gold that Allah made halal? And there's a hadith that in Akhirul Zaman the earth is going to vomit. The earth is going to vomit from its liver columns of gold and silver. Why should I not touch that gold? No, it's not to be understood literally. What happened was that the Western world, the Zionist world, in search of achieving their ultimate objective of creating one world government that will rule over the whole of mankind, so that Dajjal could then rule over mankind from Israel. That's the strategy. To bring all of mankind together, globalization in a one world government. Decided about 100 years ago or more on a strategy involving money to bring all of mankind together through money into one world government. And so they began planning, and they created the Federal Reserve in the United States. They created the League of Nations, and they created the United Nations as part of the strategy to create one world government. Why will you not understand that? So that Dajjal can rule the world. And at the heart of that strategy was a monetary system. A monetary system through which you will get all of mankind together. And that monetary system was formalized in a conference that took place in a place called Bretton Woods in upstate New York. And they brought the paper money into being, backed by gold, only the US dollar, only the US dollar, backed by gold. And all the rest of the paper money in the world having no backing by gold. And even the US dollar is redeemable at $35 an ounce, but only governments can bring their dollars to Uncle Sam to have it redeemed into gold at $35 an ounce. But that was only window dressing, that was only dust in our eyes. And in 1971, I believe it was France that brought the money to ask the US government to give us the gold. And the US government knew the game was up. It was a game of deception. The paper was bogus, it's fraudulent, it's haram. How many times must I say that? When will the scholars of Islam wake up and study the subject? If you study the subject, it's so easy to understand that the paper money that they brought to us was bogus, was fraudulent, was utterly haram. Why is it so difficult for them to understand it? But no, don't listen to Imran Hosein. No. In 1971, the United States had to renege on its obligations under Bretton Woods. So no, we're not going to redeem dollars for gold. And so now the US dollar could collapse. From the time there's any knock to the system and confidence is beginning to wane, the US dollar will lose value. So they had to think of something quick. And this is what they did. 1973 war between the Arabs and Israel. And there's quite some evidence of Zionist involvement in that war. And then there was the oil embargo that the Arabs imposed upon the United States. And then there was a deal between Henry Kissinger and King Faisal, which brought into being what is known as the petrodollar. The petrodollar. So no longer is the metal gold being used to back the paper. Now Faisal agrees. Faisal agrees without knowledge. He didn't have the knowledge, King Faisal rahimahullah, that Saudi Arabia will sell its oil for only US dollars. Haram. That's haram, that's haram, that's haram. Saudi Arabia will sell its oil only for US dollars. That's haram. And Saudi Arabia will get all the other oil producing Arab countries to agree to sell their oil for only dollars. That's haram, haram, haram. Nobody question it. No, nobody question it. And this agreement to sell oil for dollars, since oil is the largest commodity traded in the world market, established for the United States dollar a demand that allowed it to survive and flourish. And then the US dollar, the petrodollar, also became the trade dollar. You want to buy and sell any part of the world, you need dollars. The banking system is not going to accept other money. No. You're in Pakistan and you want to buy from India. The Pakistani who wants to buy from India has to buy with US dollars. An Indian who wants to buy from Pakistani has to buy from US with US dollars. What's wrong with the Pakistani rupee and the Indian rupee trading? No. You got to buy the US, so you become the trading dollar. This is the hadith. This is the hadith. That the river Euphrates will uncover a mountain of gold. The Prophet ﷺ is referring to this. Don't touch it means we should not be touching this US dollar, and we should not touching the other paper money. This is my opinion, and it will not be long before we go in the grave. and we'll know who is right and who is wrong. But those who insist on waiting for the mountain of gold to come out of the river, and I'm not speaking sarcastically about them, there's no need for them to respond to me with boxing gloves. In fact, it's too late for that now. They have the right to wait for the mountain of gold to come out of the river.